Yo, that was Rui, my homegirl, with Exciting. And she's part of a group called H.U.B, Hope You Bounce. She was the first artist to debut with New Planet. And I have the album here, and it's signed by all the members of H.U.B, Hope You Bounce, who I met in Korea. I never told this story before on the air. And I'm going to do my best to tell you a very coherent, a very not so boring, but very serious story. I'm going to pull up some messages here, and there's going to be hurt feelings in this. So I'm going to take you on the backstory. I've been doing this since 2010. I started as the third co-host, actually. I was not the original co-host for A Gamer's Escape with Rainier, DJ Choco, before we even had Bento Box Saturday. I used to come in at about 7:30. I'd meet my homeboy Rainier here at about 7:30, and I'd come in and we'd be on the show with two other individuals. Then the next, one day Rainier came to me and he told me, you should consider having your own show. You have a very unique style to you, which at the time my style was, I had a lot of visual K, a lot of J-pop, a lot of K-pop. I was heavy into the Asian culture, and I still am. And so I also needed a easy A, so I signed up for radio production class, and I loved it. I got FCC certified. I passed my broadcaster's examination and everything, and there we go. We started covering events, like fast forward a little. We started covering events. We added two other DJs to our team, our block of entertainment, and like the rest is pretty much history. I won't really talk about the in-between DJ. Actually, there were 3 more DJs, but 2 of them fell off. Anyways, so we started interviewing guests, or we started interviewing artists. My first press activity, interviewing artists was Warped Tour. And from then on, man, we jumped into the rabbit hole. We're talking Fanime, Anime Expo, all the anime cons. One year we did every anime con thinking that we would get, we just had to have that experience. So fast forward to now. I mean, we interviewed Generations last week and stuff, but there is one interview that I have never released to the air, and that's because I can't release it. And it's really sad because it was a great interview. There's this one interview that I never released. It is, in fact, the interview with H.U.B, Hope You Bounce. Now, if you remember, let me take you back. I traveled to Asia last year and the year before. Well, last year my route went like this. It went from San Francisco to Hong Kong for the Mama Awards, then to Japan for 2 days, and then to Korea for the remainder of the trip. So, after the IOI incident at Mama, which is, I got caught on camera dancing to IOI's Very Very, and it apparently went viral, and it was on everybody's Twitter, everybody's reaction video. This is where radio and YouTube reactions finally made a connection, and this is actually, I had followed Michael Malice for years, Truly Malice. I had followed him when he was called Mr. Popo. I had followed him for years, but I never actually interacted with the guy because YouTubers and radio people are on 2 different spectrums of media, and we generally don't cross paths. We should cross paths. YouTubers are actually cool people, and I don't really have a negative thing to say about them until they do something negative. Anyways, Mike Malice, Truly Malice, I remember this before I left. he was having some issues with a gentleman named Mateo Ramirez. And if I'm remembering how I got caught up in this whole, I went in and I guess the company Wave Music. The company Wave Music was having this Halloween DreamCon, and obviously anything upstart we want to be a part of, Bento Box Saturday wants to be a part of. And so I saw it as an opportunity, to interview and talk to some upcoming groups. And I'm just like, this will be a good opportunity. So I put in my stuff. I do the inquiry and everything. I get a reply back pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, one of my friends from LA, she helps me out with a lot of, indie K-pop stuff. She tells me, hey, this guy Mateo is bad news. You need to get away from him. Delete him now. Don't let him do any of your stuff. Like, do not join Wave Music. It's a scam. You need to get away. The next thing I know, guys from our rival outlets are hitting me up. Guys from K-Fam are hitting me up. Guys from like different YouTube channels are hitting me up. A rapper by the name of Alan Z, who I'm becoming pretty cool with, and he's got a pretty cool album out there called Pay Me, which totally relates to this. But I become friends with this person. We're in a group chat, a giant, colossal group chat, talking about our scam stories from one Mateo Ramirez. I'm sure you've seen the video series, Dear K-Pop, where Michael is talking about how his company Soul Wave got scammed by Mateo Ramirez. Mateo's not showing up for this. He owes Mike money. Mike's not gonna ever get that money. Mike had forgiven him, and the dude, he gets a call in Korea from the dude from MBC and stuff. You guys, I don't want to spoil that episode. Go on YouTube and watch Mike's video. It's wow. Anyways, he encouraged us in that video to share our stories about one Mateo Ramirez. And I'm gonna share that story now. I have been silent since December about this story. I'm gonna share it, except for my close friends. I'm gonna share that story now. So, I get a message about December. Well, it's not the 7th, because the 7th was the interview. I'm gonna go through some exchanges, actually. A lot of exchanges. Anyways, I get a message after I arrive in Korea from Mateo. At the time, I'm already raising an eyebrow at him. But whatever, I'm on vacation, and I couldn't be bothered anyway. I was actually pretty bored that day anyway. So I'm sitting in my guest house, and here we go. I think it was December the 6th. I get a message, and he says, how would you like to interview one of our groups? First of all, the words interview, you got my attention, alright? And plus, it's a K-pop group, which currently we only have so many of those under our belt as interviewing. We're much more stronger in J-pop when it comes to interviews. Anywho, that message comes in, and he says, yeah, you can go down to New Planet Studio, and you can actually interview H.U.B for our show, Idol Talk, on whatever this app was. I don't remember what the app was called. But Africa TV, or Africa TV. And, I call it Africa TV because it looks like a really bad spelling of Africa. Well, AFreeCA.TV, yeah, that website. Anyways, I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I would love to have the opportunity. So I agreed to it. Well, now I'm going to start at the random messages leading up to the interview. So I'm shopping around in the Coex Mall, and apparently I'm talking between the CEO and Mateo. And at the time, I actually didn't believe that the CEO was real either. I thought it was a giant scam, so I'm carrying my money with me and stuff. And I'm making plans with my other friends, because I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure I'm getting ready to get scammed, but in case something happens to me, I'm in the Gangnam district right now, and I just got off the line. I don't even remember what line it was. I think it was the green line, and I think it was line 6 in Korea. Anyways, Mateo messages me. He's like, okay, is this the correct starting location? And he types in Coex Mall. No joke. And he says, you need to get off at, Yeoksamdong, which is, it's another subway station. He says, let me know when you get off if you need directions from there. Now, I'm on a Wi-Fi egg, and I have no concept of time at this time, but I'm pretty sure it was like 1 or 2 a.m. here in the United States. He says, also, we will stream the show live on Facebook this time because it takes time to set up the Africa TV stream, and we are a bit behind. This is where I should have thrown a red flag in the first place, because if you're streaming on Africa TV, you've got some pretty boss technology, and I mean, you've obviously got a team behind you, a team like my good buddies over at the O Network. He says, feel free to stream it to your personal Facebook too. And I tell him I'm on the train now. 79015 Yeoksamdong, correct? That's me. And he says yes, and he shows me this building, which, by the way, actually, it was the building under it that turned out to be New Planet Entertainment, basement level. And I told him hopping off now. He says, great, I really hope you enjoy meeting them. The manager is going to print a copy of the script. I'm still wary at this point, so I didn't think it was going to happen. I'm not sure which number it is, but it's near Mercury Oriental Hospital. Let me find out the number. And then I said I would stay put until he did. And he said, okay, so Yeoksam Station. The easiest route will be exit 2. It lets you out on the correct side. Then walk down Non-Euro 6 blocks and turn right when you get to Non-Euro 71 Gil. He shows me the wrong sign, and I actually end up walking around town the whole night, and I forgot that Google didn't work in Korea, so I had to use Naver Maps. By the time I got to New Planet, H.U.B was leaving for a dance lesson for the night, but the CEO invited me in the building anyway, and we talked for a little bit, what little English he could talk. I was in shock that there was actually a CEO, and he and I are actually friends on Facebook now, but yeah, I'm skipping past some of these messages. Anyways, yeah, we talked, and then Grace from H.U.B, he calls Grace on the phone. The CEO calls Grace. So Grace talks to me on the phone, and she says, okay, so my CEO wants to do that interview tomorrow. Is that okay? Because we have a dance lesson tonight. And I'm like, that's totally okay. I'm on vacation for the next couple days anyway. I've just been extended, actually. So, yeah. Well, then it gets really hairy, man. So the next day I get up, everything's cool, right? I'm getting ready for the interview. I'm like, luckily I brought a shirt and tie because I had been doing interviews and stuff for teaching positions overseas. So I always have a shirt and tie with me in my suitcase. DJ Monaco will tell you all about that. DJ Batman is never without a shirt and a tie. Anyways, so I wake up, I put on my tie and everything, man. I'm like, man, this is going down. This is for real. I'm nervous. I'm practicing questions and whatnot. I haven't practiced questions in a long time, guys. So I get on that same subway station. We get up there. Mateo messages me. He says, hey, I'm telling him to set up the interview space now. Let me know when he arrives. He gives me a set of questions. He's like, hosts will introduce themselves in the group. Ask these questions. What is your story behind the latest song? What is it like working together as your first musical piece as a group? Host will ask the artist, where did the name H.U.B come from? Tell the audience about the partnership between New Planet Entertainment and Wave Music. I want you guys all to star that one because we're going to come back to it. To expand into the American music market, what are you most excited for expanding into America? These questions were requested by a Facebook user. What do you girls do on your free time? There was a bunch of questions. The short-ended script, and yeah, it was interesting to say the least. I get to New Planet Entertainment, and I remember it like it was yesterday, for the second day. CEO invites me down. I go down there. Rui's chilling out. And I think Grace is practicing her dancing. Grace is actually she is very dedicated to what she does. And that's why the end of this story is going to make me really angry. But Grace is really dedicated to what she does and really loves what she does. Her and Rui are my favorite members, not because they're gorgeous, they are gorgeous, but because they work hard, man. The girls all work hard, but they work hard. Anyways, we start that interview. Well, we get down there for the interview. I message Mateo and I say, hey, Mateo, where's the camera crew? Mateo responds, oh, we had a camera crew, but they all left Korea yesterday. Now, I'm not an expert on these things. I don't claim to be an expert, even though I've been in the game a long time. But if you're having an interview, why on God's green earth would you send your camera crew home? He's like, yeah, I sent them home. They all went home. They all left Korea. So you're winging this one, man. So luckily I brought my camera. I didn't bring my tripod. I did bring my tripod on the trip. I didn't bring my tripod, so I have with me, I improvise, I adapt, and I overcome. I have with me a selfie stick, my DSLR camera, and, a mic. A little mini mic. I didn't even have the little mini one we use for all our other interviews, and I wish I did, because there would be no way that he could do what he did. So we start the interview, like, on a selfie stick, streaming live on Wave Music. And it goes live. People are watching. And I'm talking to them. And I'm talking to the girls. I'm answering questions. People were happy to have their questions answered and stuff. H.U.B had a little dance spot before the actual interview started that I recorded that one day I will release. And yeah, the interview went great. You learned a lot about the girls and whatnot. The problem is we were never going to be able to redistribute it, because I discovered when I got back to, my guest house in Namsan that Mateo's deleted the audio. And soon after that, when I got back to the United States, I went to go look for the video on Wave Music. Mateo has deleted the video entirely. He Google Drive, and then to top this off, and this is to go off of something that Michael Malice said, Mateo actually sends me the video through Google Drive. No audio whatsoever. There's no audio. It's the girls sitting there literally, and their mouths are moving, and you don't hear nothing. You don't hear me on the track, and you don't hear them on the track. Mateo screwed those girls. Okay? He screwed them over. The girls there was never a plan to come to America. And by the way, I had you start that question about the Wave Music and expansion into the American market, because I actually, if you did get to catch the broadcast where there was audio, I actually never mentioned that question because I knew something was up as soon as I started the interview. I'm like, something's up. I'm not going to ask this question. There's a way that you can feel things in an interview. You can feel the way things are going in an interview, and something was definitely not right there that weekend or that day, and I just definitely did not ask that question. I've always made the disclaimer, I never worked for Wave Music, and I'm keeping that disclaimer. I belong to KCSS, and here we go. Mateo, has deleted the audio, and this interview is as if it never happened. Yet there's a selfie on my page and on my Instagram with me and the girls of H.U.B, and now it just looks bad. So, I've shied away from talking to the CEO about what went down, but I think he knows what went down because everybody seems to be still cool with me. But that's just a story, one of many stories about the scammer himself, Mateo Ramirez. I'm not afraid of being blacklisted by any event because, quite frankly, and this is going to sound very, very, very condescending and very high horse, we're more connected than you think at this station.